We talk about accountability constantly. Politicians promise it, organizations claim it, reforms demand it. But what does accountability actually mean? Because most of what we call accountability isn't. A lot of what gets labeled accountability is just performance. Apologies without change are the most common form. Leaders say they're sorry and claim full responsibility, but nothing actually changes. The same people stay in charge, the same systems remain, and the same incentives keep operating. In corporate failures, a CEO might say they take responsibility, keep their job in bonus, and continue the same practices. That wasn't accountability, it was words. Investigations that lead nowhere are another example. A commission is formed, hearings are held, a report is written, and then it's filed away. After the financial crisis, there were countless investigations and detailed reports, but minimal prosecutions. Executives kept their wealth, and the system barely changed. That's process theater, not accountability. Then there are symbolic resignations. A mid-level official resigns and takes the fall for a systemic failure, while leadership above them remains, and the policies that caused the problem continue unchanged. That's scapegoating, not accountability. Fake accountability persists because it serves everyone involved. Institutions get to look like they're taking problems seriously while protecting powerful people and avoiding real change. The public gets temporary satisfaction that someone was held responsible and can move on from outrage. But once there's been an apology, an investigation, or a resignation, it becomes harder to demand more. The issue looks addressed, even though nothing meaningful changed. That pressure release prevents real accountability. Real accountability is consequence-based. It means consequences that actually change behavior. When performance fails, leadership changes. Not apologies followed by business as usual, but replacement when strategies repeatedly fail, metrics are consistently missed, outcomes don't improve, or harm results from decisions. In business, poor performance eventually leads to leadership turnover, and boards that tolerate failure get replaced. That logic should apply to public institutions too. Agencies that underperform should get new leadership. Programs that don't work should be reformed or ended. Officials whose policies fail should face real electoral consequences. Real accountability also requires transparent metrics and benchmarks, not vague promises to do better, but clear, measurable goals, public tracking, regular reporting, and no hiding behind spin. In education, fake accountability sounds like commitment to excellence. Real accountability means student outcomes are measured transparently, progress is tracked publicly, gaps are identified clearly, and leadership is evaluated on results. In healthcare, fake accountability is talking about improving access. Real accountability publishes wait times, makes quality and cost transparent, and addresses performance gaps with consequences for persistent failure. Independent oversight is another core requirement. Organizations cannot investigate themselves and call it accountability. Real oversight means external audits, independent review bodies, separation from political control, and real power to enforce findings. In policing, fake accountability is internal affairs investigating the same department. Real accountability involves independent civilian review, external investigators, transparent findings, and binding consequences for misconduct. In financial regulation, fake accountability comes from regulators too close to the industries they oversee. Real accountability requires independent enforcement, penalties that matter, and no revolving door between regulator and regulated. Real accountability also requires admission and correction, not denying, minimizing, or deflecting, but clearly acknowledging failure, explaining what went wrong, showing what is changing, and demonstrating learning. During public health failures, fake accountability sounds like saying decisions were based on the best information at the time. Real accountability sounds like admitting what was wrong, why it happened, what was learned, and what will change. People can accept mistakes. They don't respect pretending nothing went wrong. Accountability matters because it changes incentives. Without it, decision-makers are incentivized to prioritize short-term optics, face no consequences for long-term failure, blame others later, and move on before results are clear. Politicians can promise things they can't deliver, get elected, and be gone by the time problems surface. With accountability, incentives flip. Decisions are judged on outcomes. Failure follows you. Reputation and career become tied to results. That fundamentally changes behavior. Accountability also rebuilds trust. When people see failures acknowledged, changes made, bad performance punished, and good performance rewarded, they believe improvement is possible. Institutions don't have to be perfect, but they have to be responsive. Without accountability, cynicism is rational. People conclude nothing ever changes, leaders protect their own, participation is pointless, and the system is rigged. Real accountability requires political will from leaders willing to face consequences, institutional design that includes independent oversight, transparent metrics, enforcement, and whistleblower protection, public engagement that goes beyond outrage to sustain pressure, and media that investigates, follows up, tracks outcomes, and holds power to account.
All of these have weakened over time, which is why accountability feels so rare. We use the word accountability constantly, but most of what we call it is apologies without change, investigations without consequences, and symbolic gestures without reform. Real accountability means leadership changes when performance fails. Metrics are transparent and binding. Oversight is independent, and mistakes are admitted and corrected. It's uncomfortable. It creates real consequences. It requires admitting failure. That's exactly why it works, and why it's rare. If we want institutions we can trust, we need real accountability. Everything else is just performance. If this changed how you think about accountability, share it. Subscribe for analysis that cuts through performance to what actually matters. Thanks for watching.